This is part of the hazing of the new superintendent.
Get this on camera, will you?
Maybe, Jim, you can just take
Just
it off
open
and put
the
it on the
door,
chair
yeah,
for now.
yes.
You're on. Come right in, please. Hey, how's it going? Sit to that.
There you go.
Good, how are you? Good. Yeah, I'm going out there.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
So is this all good news here?
We have one little thing, athletic thing we have to do first, but...
No, but as far as the crowd, it's a good thing?
We're hoping, yeah.
Okay, all right. You never know.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
What's up, Matt? Sorry, I didn't call you. Yeah, whatever. This was before it.
I drove directly and I didn't get flooded out. All right, dude.
Is that your last time in town?
You look nice. Sit over there.
Broke the spell then. You broke the spell.
He's introducing me.
Because then he can do the surgery. Well, no, I will one last time.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this June 17th, 2009 school board meeting. My apologies for keeping you waiting in the hallway. We had a brief non-public meeting to start things off with, as we've got some staff nominations that we wanted to address in that setting prior to the main part of our meeting tonight. So again, thanks for your patience. We'll continue the meeting as we customarily do with the reading of our district's mission statement, and then continue from there. The Newmarket School District is committed to the highest. Oh, actually, my apologies. We start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jordan, one last time, if you don't mind.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Newmarket School District is committed to the highest standards of quality education by creating a safe and successful learning community that embraces diversity and responds to the social, emotional, intellectual, and physical needs of every child. We are dedicated to fostering links to the broader community and to ensure the students develop lifelong skills, enabling them to be contributing and productive members of society. As you'll note, the next on the agenda is the non-public work session. We
I can't hear you.
can't hear back there. Sorry. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
You're welcome. With no further ado, Dr. Lister, our interim superintendent, would like to speak to a matter for starters this evening. Bob, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, I'd like to make a statement here in a presentation. Mr. Andruski is also in the room here with us, and he will also have a couple of words to say. And I do have a request of the board, but let me begin. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight, and know that on Wednesday, June 18th, 2008, almost 2 years ago from tonight's meeting, there was an article in Foster's newspaper entitled, "Newmarket Retires Johnson's Jersey Number 11." in memory of Derek Johnson, a student at Newmarket High School and a member of the high school baseball team. Tonight, we have individuals present who may be concerned about whether or not Derek's jersey, number 11, is actually out of play, and certainly everyone wants to honor Derek. At the senior awards ceremony, Michael Lang, Derek's cousin and a former member of the baseball team, presented the annual Derek Johnson Scholarship to Kelsey Brangel. Also, at the sports awards ceremony, Coach David Adams presented a new award to be annual as well, called the Derek Johnson Coaches Award. The recipient of that award was John Schneider. As superintendent, you have heard me state many times that it's important to recognize our students in the 3 A's: academics, the arts, and athletics. Mr. Andruski, the principal, Mr. Jamie Hayes, our athletic director, and I, as superintendent, have met many times to discuss the issue of Derek's jersey and honoring his memory in our community. We are recommending to the school board tonight that a policy be developed in the near future that would establish a process or procedure for any future requests for memorials that include, but are not limited to, placing a memorial bench, planting a tree, naming a school after someone, hanging memorials in the school, etc. This will eliminate any future difficulties with communication and address such requests in a proficient way. Yesterday, I spoke to Mrs. Johnson and explained to Gail what we would be proposing tonight, and we appreciate Derek's family, his mom and dad, his grandmother and grandfather being here, and all his friends and other family. We appreciate you being here tonight to celebrate this with us. I'd like to ensure that the action we're about to make is correctly recorded in the school board minutes and witnessed by the media and everyone here this evening. In respect to Derek Johnson, his family and friends, Mr. Andruski, Mr. Hayes, and I are recommending to the school board that we officially take the Newmarket High School basketball jersey, number 11, out of play.
Baseball jersey.
And the jersey be framed, continue to be displayed at Newmarket Junior Senior High School. Did I say basketball? I meant baseball. Sorry about that. Baseball. That we take baseball jersey number 11 out of play, and the shirt that's framed at the high school continue to remain there. And at this time, I'd like to turn over to Mr. Andruski briefly.
Thank you all for coming and showing your support tonight. Tonight, I would like to recognize Derek Johnson and carry on his memory forever by presenting the Derek Johnson Coaches Award to John Snyder. In honor of Derek, Mr. Lister, Mr. Hayes, and myself would like to announce that the number 11 jersey will not be worn by another Newmarket baseball player. Instead, each year, the number 11 jersey will be presented to that player who the coach best exemplifies what Derek Johnson meant to baseball. Hard work, sportsmanship, dedication, commitment, and most of all, a love for the game. I think it is only appropriate that the number 11 jersey represent Derek Johnson Coaches Award from this day forward. So every year, the number 11 will be presented to that Coaches Award nominee. So tonight, I'd like to give this to John Snyder, number 11. This year's 11 jersey will be taken out of play and given to John as the Coaches Award ceremony. The Derek Johnson Coaches Award.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to request that the board make a motion and about the jersey, taking the jersey out of play, so it's part of our public record.
Would anyone like to make such a motion?
I would make that motion to remove Derek Johnson's jersey from play and to be hung up in the gym for the rest of us to see, and for all of us to remember his wonderful smile and the way that he treated everyone.
I'll second that.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Chet. Any further discussion? Thanks. I don't think much really need be said more. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have,
Do you want to ask if anyone wants to speak?
if you review the agenda, we've got a couple brief items, and then we'll have our typical time where visitors can speak. And I, as always, welcome folks to come to the microphone and do that, but at that point in time. So if you don't mind, a couple other items first. Jordan has been our student representative to the school board for the past year, and he is now our outgoing member, and would like to introduce us to Matt Crawford, if you would, Jordan.
Sure. I just want to say thank you to everybody for helping me, guiding me throughout the whole year. It's been a blast. Striving to be a teacher, so it shows me I have a great background of what you guys do behind the scenes, so thank you for that. And I especially wanted to thank you, Mr. Lister, for stepping up to the plate and coming here. You've made a huge difference in our school. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So at this time, I wanted to bring Mac up to my chair.
Ceremonial handoff.
Thanks, Jordan.
No problem. Thanks.
Jordan.
And welcome, Mac. It's good to have you. We won't make you make a long impromptu statement quite yet.
I understand.
Get used to the chair first a little bit. Okay. Next, we have a New Hampshire School Board Association presentation.
Yes.
And we have Ted Comstock here representing that organization. Ted, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
And
Dr.
if you could
Lister.
speak from the microphone, the folks watching on television will hear you much better.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Lister. And it's so great to see so many people at a school board meeting. As executive director of the New Hampshire School Boards Association, I attend quite a few school board meetings around the state. And I think this is about triple the normal audience for a school board meeting. So I congratulate you for doing such a good job and having the community support you in such a visible way. That's great. One of the best things, my favorite things to do as executive director of the New Hampshire School Boards Association is to attend board meetings and to thank boards for being members of our association. So that's part of the reason I'm here tonight, is to thank Newmarket School Board for being a member of the New Hampshire School Boards Association. Now, for those of you who may not know what the New Hampshire School Boards Association is about, is we are not a state agency, but we're an organization that provides a variety of services to locally elected school boards, including Newmarket, and virtually all of the school boards throughout New Hampshire are members of our association. So we help with superintendent searches. We are happy to help the board in a very minor way at the beginning of the process, but turned out to be a very successful superintendent search. We meet with boards about training, and we were fortunate enough to meet with Newmarket this last year about some training things. We provide legislative advocacy on behalf of students and school boards at the New Hampshire legislature. So we do a variety of things, all aimed at helping your school board be the very best that they possibly can. So that's a little bit of a commercial, but I wanted to segue into that as one of the programs we're most excited about. It's been in place for 3 years, is our student scholarship program. So each year we present 5 scholarships. We call them book awards, $1,000 each, and they're presented to scholars in each one of the regions of the association. This happens to be the Southeast region. And it's been a very successful program. Now, the only real qualifier, other than being a scholar, is that there is a connection, a direct connection between the scholar and the school board member. So the scholar has to be son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter of a sitting school board of a member of the School Boards Association. Now you may ask, well, why is that? Well, we like to recognize the members of the school board that have served tirelessly and with little or no compensation. So it's our very small way of saying thank you and also providing some money for students to continue their higher education. So it's been a very successful program. So I wanted to draw that to your attention, but there's more. I wouldn't come and take your time just to talk about a statewide or even regional program. Actually, the reason I'm here is to present that award, because a scholar from Newmarket has won this award this year. So I would like to read from the actual certificate and the award. And it says 2010 NHSBA Scholarship Award. The New Hampshire School Boards Association is pleased to recognize you, and I'll tell you who the you is in just a very short moment, for outstanding achievement in leadership during your high school career. Present it to Benjamin Chase. Congratulations. This is suitable for framing, and this is suitable for cashing. So thank you for allowing me to come over. It's been my honor to be here, and I want to particularly thank Cliff and honor him as the board member whose son won the award, but I also want to thank the rest of the board for all you do for your community and children. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And quite an honor. Thank you very much. Moving along, then, this is the time we reserve in all of our meetings that the public is welcome to make comments. And seeing so many folks in the room, if people do want to make comments, I'd ask you to please try to limit those to just a minute or two so that everyone who wants to speak has a chance, and we can move forward. So with that, would anyone like to make any comments this evening?
Hi, I'm Gail Jablonski, and I just wanted to thank the board for what they did tonight for Derek Johnson. Derek grew up with my sons playing baseball. They have very fond memories of him. We all do. We still talk about him and some of his knuckleballers at the dinner table. So I just wanted to say thank you. As president of the Booster Club at that time, our intent was to have that number taken out of play, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the fact that there's now an award, and John Snyder is a great example of a baseball person. We have also played with him many years, and we think it's been a wonderful thing. And Gail and Rick, we love you both, and you're always in our thoughts and our prayers. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing the jersey up in the gym and where we can all see it during basketball games and other events that are there. So thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Anyone else like to speak?
Hi, I'm Jean Fritz, and I just, again, want to say what Gail said. Thank you so much. It's an honor. It will be an honor to see the jersey where it belongs in the gym and to know that it'll never be worn again. We all love Derek. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jean.
Hello. I'm John Snyder again, and wow, kind of lost in words, but it's an honor to get something that's means so much to the community. And even though I didn't know Derek personally, he's loved by everyone, and it's truly an honor. But I would actually like to give this jersey to a man that loved him deeply and always has, and that's Michael Lang. I'd like to give this to you, just because I know he'd probably want me to. So.
Thank you all. Any other comments at this point? Okay, well then, we will move along with our rest of our agenda this evening. If folks would like to stay, they're certainly welcome. We never have such a full room. But if you'd like to go home,
Watch
you're
the
certainly
Celtics.
welcome to do that too.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. We'll just take a minute for folks to.
Yeah, one classy guy. Very well done. Ben, congratulations.
I don't think you heard, Jeff.
Ben, congratulations.
Oh, thanks. My own family's leaving.
I know, you can't even.
But Jordan's staying.
Dedication.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks' time as well.
You're putting the pressure on him? Is that what you're doing?
Waiting, Mac.
Mac, what I think he's saying is that meetings going forward, whether he's in the room or not, he'll be watching. So, offering critiques, I'm sure, in email or text form. Okay. Thanks. Bob, this is your last formal meeting here with the school board, and your last chance to offer good news in this setting. So, with that.
Okay, did we decide that we were going to hold on the minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we just skipped off.
Yeah, we did speak to that earlier, and I made some notes that I just skipped over them. In reviewing the minutes for this meeting, or for the last couple of meetings earlier in the week, I found several corrections that seemed like I didn't want to lengthen the meeting at this time with lots of edits and things. So, if it was an agreement, I'd like to try to make those edits offline and work with them at our next we meet. And with that, if anyone has any edits that they'd recommend, you can do what I did, which was forward them back to the district office, and they'll incorporate them. Thanks, Bob, for keeping me in line. And with that,
A couple of items with good news, and again, because of the time, I'd just like to mention a couple of things. This is the time of year when there are a lot of good news in the two schools, and we're very pleased with that. First of all, I'd like to just say congratulations to the class of 2010. I'm amazed about the number of awards that the class of 2010 received, in scholarships, and not only academic but athletic in other areas. So congratulations to all our graduates, and we wish them the best as they venture forward. Although I have to tell you that since last week was graduation, I've seen more of them this week around the school and around the community than I have when they were in school. So, but that's a good thing. I also want to congratulate the 8th grade class that will be graduating this week and next week, the class of 2014. So we want to wish them the best as they transition to the high school program, and certainly that's going to be something we look forward to. Tomorrow is field day at the elementary school. And even though I know it's going to be 90 degrees apparently tomorrow, when I was there today, there's a lot of excitement about tomorrow, and that was just the parents. So we're hoping they have a successful day tomorrow, and I'm sure they will. Also, I'd just like to, this is just a tidbit of information, the kindergarten class coming into kindergarten in August and September will be the class of 2023. Something to think about.
Wow.
And so those are a couple of good things. Also, I'd just like to mention that I received a letter the other day from the Lamprey Health group, and they have a school-based dental clinic that they've had at the elementary school. And ordinarily, that wouldn't be too much of a big deal, except it really is, because there were a lot of kids at the elementary level that were able to have dental screenings, dental cleanings, be referred for dental work. And I know that there were 186 students screened. There were 513 receiving classroom instruction about how to take care of their teeth and dental hygiene. And certainly, we appreciate the work with Diane Beach, the nurse, Nancy Snow, and other people that really made that happen. So again, just to compliment them for the work in the collaboration and the partnership they have with the school, and all those good things that really help our kids in the town of Newmarket to be able to take care of themselves. And again, as usual, I could go on and on and on, but I won't. but there are a lot of good things, and today was another good day in Newmarket for everyone, and I'd like to just acknowledge all the teachers and the work that they do, because without them and their dedication and showing up every day, it would be difficult to do the things we do. So I'd like to acknowledge the teachers and hope that they have a great vacation and they come back rested and ready to go.
Thanks, Bob. I've got another bit of good news I'd like to share at this point. As I alluded to, this is Bob's last meeting, so it's my last opportunity, perhaps with him in the room on television, to say thank you. I think it's a great bit of good news how successful, Bob, your interimship here with us in Newmarket has been. It's difficult to. I have difficulty thinking about how smoothly it could go with coming in mid-year and being able to hit the ground running and make so much progress in so many areas and be able to really get us into an excellent place and help with the transition to Dr. Jim Hayes, who will be our permanent superintendent. We owe you a debt of gratitude, and I thank you very much. And a little small token or two of appreciation for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Jordan, if you wouldn't mind, since you're still here, just outside the door, there's something, a plant on the floor. If you don't mind just bringing that in. A little something for the garden to help you.
Thank you.
You can.
Very nice.
Good. Yeah, that's great. Something that you can walk in the garden and.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Remember your time with us.
Remember your time with us.
Thank you. If I could just say a few words, and that is, the pleasure has been all mine. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Okay. On to more detail of things. We have the Cine-Denny progress report this evening.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, we have a couple of presenters here, and they're here to give us progress reports in each one of these items. None of these items, any decisions will be made this evening because they're still in progress, but they're progress reports from these individuals, and we still need to get more input in some areas, and we'll keep the board updated as we proceed and as Dr. Hayes proceeds. So the first we have is the Denny Cine, district in need of improvement, school in need of improvement, and I believe we have Pat Ballantyne and Dan. Did I see Dan? Dan.
Yep.
And just the two of you, right? And Nancy, you? Oh.
Did you want to
Sure?
do this too?
You sure?
The Denny Progress Report is part of a process that the state gives you. They're very clear on what steps you can follow to make them happy. So we've met as a group to look at the data, to see what student groups we can help and what individual students we can help. We can help everybody. We've identified some of the groups that we can really make, an inroads with. We have yet to decide what that is still going to look like. We know we're making changes at the junior, senior high school involving curriculum, staffing. We've been both Chris and the math department have been very creative in how we're going to use people to provide extra services for kids. Mrs. Montagani had asked me at the April meeting if we had contacted other districts to see what they're doing. Because we're not the only one that's a Denny. And I indeed sat down at the curriculum coordinators meeting, regional meeting, and at our Title I regional meeting and asked, and I got some great information. In fact, Dan and I are going to be looking at some of the information they gave us, a couple of programs we really would like to look at that are online for working with junior and senior high school students for math skills. We are a Denny for math. I forgot the public's out there. We are a Denny in terms of math. We are still working with our math consultant, Dr. Mahesh Sharma. The elementary school's working on a core concepts of math, non-negotiables, that each grade level is going to be responsible for. He will be here actually this summer to do a 3-day workshop. In March, I believe, he gave a parent presentation that was very well received. We had approximately 25 to 30 parents at that evening. We have a meeting as a planning team in July 29th at the junior senior high school. A letter is going home or has gone home to all parents that we are a Denny. It will be posted on the website. I have to make a whole Denny kind of bullet under Title I, and that information will be on there. The progress report will be available on there, and the Denny plan, after it's cleaned up, will also be on there. But that probably won't happen until after September 1st, because that's when the progress report is due. I'm going to let Dan tell you what he's going to do in the math department at the junior senior high school.
Thanks, Pat.
Well, we have just a few changes in the math department. As Pat alluded to, we are changing staffing around just a little. It's not, we're not seeing changes in staff members in the school, but we're shifting positions. Christine Merrick, who has done traditionally just the business math, or the business program, is now being incorporated into the math department as well. So we're able to work closely with her. Next year, she's going to be teaching some of the Algebra 2 classes. So pretty excited about that. Because of a change in the state requirement that all students reach Algebra 1 before they graduate, it's changed some of the courses that students are elected to take. There are some courses that they would traditionally take, but now since they have to take an algebra class, they're not going to take this other class. And usually it's business math is the one that's hit the most. And that enrollment has plummeted seriously for the last couple of years. And so what we're going to end up doing is next year we'll have a combined course. The business math class, which is more of an application-based, dealing with some of the basic math skills but applied to real-life situations, and the transitions math course, which is basically like a pre-algebra course. Those two courses will merge since there's a lot of overlap there anyways. And it'll be more of an application-based class with some of the other things that the business class didn't have to begin with, like geometry and problem stats. We're going to have 2 math labs. We're able to free up 2 periods, one in the high school and one in the middle school. I worked on crunching the numbers based off of some of the kneecap scores and the NEWA scores from 8th grade and 9th grade. And so we're able to identify students that are likely to score low on the 11th grade kneecap score, or kneecap. And with that type of analysis, we can say, okay, these are the kids that we predict would be low. So let's hit them soon, target the areas of weaknesses, and so we can really bring up those scores. And the next step would be to do the same thing for the junior high. Look at all the scores, look at all the data that we have, and try and target whichever students are in need, and have them go to a math lab where you can really work on them on a one-on-one, well, not one-on-one, but a small group basis. A couple of course changes. We are lucky enough to have Calc BC instead of Calc, well, in addition to Calc AB, which will be offered next year. There is a second semester probability and statistics course that'll be offered. That's an advanced probability and statistics course, and that'll take the place of trigonometry. Traditionally, it was trigonometry first semester, probability and statistics second semester. Trigonometry, the material is covered in other courses, Algebra 2 and pre-calculus. And so since that material is covered elsewhere, I'd like to focus more on evolving the probability and statistics curriculum, since that is pretty widely used nowadays. And then the one that I'm excited about the most, and frankly pretty much the entire department, is that we've started work on switching to a standards-based assessment program. And this is pretty exciting, because originally what you would have is that a student gets through a certain course, let's say it's a geometry course, and at the end they get a grade, which is great. You know, if you get a high grade, that means you did well. If you get a low grade, you didn't do so well. But the next year you look back and what does that number mean? yeah, you did well, but where did you do well? Are there some areas that you did really, really well and other areas not so well and they just kind of average out? Or was it all across the board? So we're going to be working, a lot of work on developing this standards-based assessment so that instead of just getting a number grade on every assignment, you would get a grade for each individual skill that was assessed or that was part of that assignment. All that data would be collected in Infinite Campus, and then in addition to the state NECAP scores and the national NEWA scores that we get, but we only get on a semi-regular basis, we'll be able to tie in the day-to-day assessments that we're doing in the classroom anyways. So we don't have to do extra standardized tests and disrupt what's going on in the classroom. We can take what we're doing already, collect that data, and use that to help enhance our instruction. So I think that might be it.
Is that standard-based thing gonna put a lot of extra work on the teachers?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're aware of that?
Yes.
And I'm getting the sense that they're seeing the value in that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This kind of grew from about, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, we really started seeing a lot of the students that were coming to a second year, let's say like Algebra 1 to Algebra 2. We've known they've seen the material in Algebra 1. There's a year in between to take geometry, and then they get to Algebra 2, and we find that a lot of times they have to bone up on some of the skills that should have been mastered at that early level. So one of the things that we started doing was started working with MathMates, which some of you might have heard of, positive or negative, you've probably heard of, which really helps as a supplement to what we're doing already so that they're getting continuous review of a lot of basic skills, just number facts, to all the way up to some pretty difficult problem-solving questions. So that's really helped. We have seen a little bit of improvement in that area. But we'd like to know now, instead of just doing a broad approach of let's improve all the skills, what are there certain skills now that are just critical that that students aren't retaining or we're not teaching as well? And it's hard to do that with just the standardized assessments because they'll come back and say, we have a weakness in numbers and operations. Okay, where? And that's the information that we really need.
So I'm getting the sense then that if you were going to be teaching Algebra 2 trig or Algebra 2, what's that layered with?
Algebra 2?
Yeah, that's Algebra 2. Okay,
Yeah,
so with the year before, there's some fundamentals that are necessary. You would be able to data mine Infinite Campus to know specific weaknesses of the students that are in each section.
Right.
So you can tailor your instruction based on that.
Absolutely. I'm going to try and, some of that data is already in there, and it's not as specific by, like, really specific skill, like multiplying decimals. That's not in there. But there is information about general skills, and I'm hoping to, sometime this summer, in my free time, basically run reports on, for next year when, the staff comes in and says, okay, I'm going to be teaching my Algebra 2 class now, and I'll have a report ready for them and say, okay, everybody in this class, I ran a report, I linked it to all this stuff that we've got in Infinite Campus already. Your class looks like it's weak in this area or really strong in this area. And so they can come in first day, and without having to do any assessment and take up any time in class, they can already get a feel for where they'll need to work. I've also started doing, for the MathMates, just on my own, entering for the test. There's 8 a year, usually. Entering correct or incorrect for every question, for every student, into a spreadsheet. And so it takes a little bit of work, but it's been really useful because that information I can put in Infinite Campus, and then that will carry through so that the next year, whoever gets the students that I had this year can go on Infinite Campus and can look, hey, look, MathMates, all these questions on area, they're getting wrong. So, that's an area of weakness. So that we're having all this information, and before it would just go into this one number, and it's much more useful for us to figure out, to assign it to a skill, and then track that skill all the way through.
That's very cool.
And much more timely than waiting for scores to come back.
Absolutely, especially with kneecaps. I mean, you take them in the fall, you don't get the scores back until December, January, and then AYP and whenever.
Doesn't really give you much time, does it?
Right, and especially at the middle school, you get kneecap scores every year. But then in the high school, the last time they do a kneecap is in 8th grade, and then not until 11th grade. So I'd rather not wait 3 years to figure out if what we're doing is working.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Chair, I know you have some.
Math.
I had a feeling.
You talked about coursework, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry. You haven't talked anything about concepts within those courseworks.
Right. That's one of the things we're working on right now, is we've been taking the last few meetings of the school year, the last few department meetings. In addition, Pat was nice enough to fund some workshop hours for us. Actually, earlier this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, we spent about 5 hours working as a department to take the three main standards that we see, the state standards, the national course standards that were just adopted in June 2nd, and then the NCTM standards. So we've taken these three standards, we've broken into groups, and we're starting to develop from those our standards and where they fit into the coursework. So we're able to match up the content, the skills to the courses, and now once we have that mapping set up, we can start assigning scores to all those skills. Does that hopefully kind of answer your question?
You know, math is a large discipline, so.
Yes, absolutely.
I can ask you 100 questions.
I'm ready.
One of them is, the fact is that the whole idea of definitions, to me, when I taught, definitions was, they had to know what they were doing.
Right.
So they were hammering at that continuously. And the other one is, of course, the definition of a function and usage of that function throughout mathematics. Those are very important concepts that had to be known by students who are going to go from one discipline to the other.
Right. And in the current way that we grade, you can't determine whether that's something that they know or not.
Yes, that's why I don't want to, chastise you for what you're saying. What I'd like to do is, can you give us a hard copy of what you're going to set up within, let's say, by July, next meeting in July or something like that, so we look at it?
I can give you a draft of what we have, but it's nowhere near complete.
All right, give us a draft what you have, and then by September, could you get a complete set to us?
It's a question of time. I mean,
okay. Or by October.
Yeah.
So we can see what's
the
going
department
on.
meetings that we have are, technically the department meetings are volunteered.
All right.
They're not a part of the contract, so I can only push them so far.
Well, we could have you come before us again in September
Yep,
or
that's fine.
October. I think this is a very important subject matter that we should take very seriously as in mathematics and also in reading and the usage of English.
I'd be happy to come in
and so
and
forth.
let you guys
I
know
think
where we are.
we should have more department heads before the school board. Yeah,
Sounds good to me.
Good job.
Thanks.
Can I ask one more question?
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure. Did you talk about the 8th grade mathematics, look at a broader format of
Oh, I'm
fundamentals?
sorry.
Did you
That-
talk about?
No, I did not.
And what does that mean? Algebra students will have to pass a competency? Does that mean
Right.
if they don't pass that competency, they'll stay back until they pass that Like, what does that
Nope.
mean exactly?
No, the one thing that was addressing was that some of the times what we saw is in placing students for a certain course, and usually this would happen from 5th to 6th grade, the 5th grade teachers would make a designation that these students are the accelerated students or the higher
Right,
achieving
yeah.
students, and so they're going to go into a higher achieving class, and that group generally stayed the same 5th to 6th, 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, and then in 8th grade they would get an Algebra 1 course, and then from there freshman year they would go to geometry, sophomore year it would be Algebra 2, and that's the track they would go on,
Right.
and that worked relatively well. What we did end up finding is probably through the time that we saw a lot of turnover in the middle school, probably about 6 years ago, the skills were not as strong. And so we see ripples of that into the high school in the last few years where the scores have dropped. I can't say definitely, but I'd wager it was due to all the disruptions when they were coming through middle school. And so what we end up seeing is that you get a student that is, does well in a course, great student, and finishes the course and has a decent grasp of most of the concepts. So it's not low enough that you'd want to say, okay, you passed, you didn't fail, so I don't want you to take the class over, but you're not really strong enough yet that you go to your next course and
You're gonna get lost.
you're just going to start struggling, and And that would happen the next year. So, you know, so, oh, well, maybe next year you'll catch up. So the next year they go to the next class and kind of the same thing happens. And it's just snowballs. So that you go further and further along, and they spend a lot of time trying to recover or trying to relearn the skills from before, in addition to the stuff the new stuff for the course. So this was one small attempt to say, in that 8th grade, where it really splits into an 8th grade curriculum and the algebra curriculum, that I'm going to be meeting with the students one-on-one to see if they're really ready for the algebra, whether they've mastered the material that they need to, so that they don't see later on, they're not trying to recover those skills in addition to learning the new
So
stuff.
are these only the kids in that accelerated 7th grade class, or is it all of this?
It could be anybody that's ready. I mean, it's likely to be the people that are in the accelerated class, but it doesn't have to be. So I think I've gotten contact from 5 students and parents saying they're interested in doing this one-on-one testing. I'm looking at going into some of the scores to see if somebody that, you know, is maybe a little shy about approaching me and seeing, you know, okay, it looks like you're doing really well. Come and sit down with me. We'll see where you are. And if you think you're ready, yes, I do want you to do well, but I'm really hesitant about putting somebody in a course just to say it's an accelerated course, only to find out later that maybe they weren't ready for it and now they're going to pay for it.
Okay, that's good.
Matt, is the everyday math program helped?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Is there some way you could meet with the elementary people and find out what's going on?
We have had a couple of meetings. I know a lot of the middle school have worked with some of the elementary school teachers to see, especially because some of the algorithms are a little different, just to see when students are coming up and doing lattice multiplication, we don't go, what the heck are you doing? And they've gone to workshops, and so they're familiar with the everyday math program.
What is the grade level of the students that have had everyday math?
What was a
7th grade.
is that? Well, I'll have to refer to Scott.
Yeah, the highest, the first year that it was implemented was 2005-06. So the current 8th graders had it as first year. You know, they had the first 3rd grade, the first 4th grade, and the first 5th grade. So they had.
They're the junior,
Was that
so that
junior high, middle school
implemented?
kids.
Yeah, it was fully implemented at grade 3 in 2005-06. Then we added grade 4 when they went to grade 4, and grade 5 when they went to grade 5.
So the current 8th graders have had 3 years of everyday math curriculum.
Teachers for whom it was brand new.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we should start seeing the effect of that with that group, and maybe the group that's behind them that it was in their 2nd year of the program, perhaps.
I'd like to
To be
see that.
definitive.
I'd like to see the junior high. I guess you're in charge of the junior high also, right?
Yep.
I think you should.
You should
my
do
opinion,
everything.
You should be
Feels
talking
like
to
it.
those people down here. I know it's going to be tough,
Yep.
but I think it has to be the way I look at it.
There's been, to be honest with you, there's been a lot of putting out fires the last few years,
Yeah.
and it feels like this year, this is the first year that I've been here that we've had the same math department 2 years running. So it's actually felt nice that this year I can spend a little bit of time looking ahead to stuff instead of running around fixing stuff that is popping up.
Good. It's tough being the only one, huh?
No, I have wonderful people in the department that are more than happy to help.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, one other quick question. In geometries, Matt, proofs,
Yep.
how much emphasis do you put on proofs?
It depends on the course. The L5, the accelerated class, does a little bit more emphasis on proof than the L4.
Bob, do you have something to add?
A couple comments. I just want to reiterate the fact that math is the area we're focusing on. I just want people at home to especially know that we're doing everything we can to be able to come up with different techniques and strategies to deal with that, with the subgroups, but not only the subgroups that are involved, but also everyone, because we want everyone to have good math skills. And the plan that was referred to by Pat was due in is due in September. So that's kind of a work in progress. So Mr. Jablonski asking for updates, I think that's important to keep getting information, because this is, I said before, is a progress report, a work in progress, and that's really going to be important. I appreciate the fact that when Dan is talking about collecting data, that it's going to be used by teachers, and we're doing some professional development around that, because we don't want to be one of those districts that's data-rich and analysis poor. We want to be able to use the data to be able to look at what's happening. And two other quick things. One is that I want to remind everyone that the kneecap is only one assessment of many. And even though we didn't make AYP and we're a district in need of improvement in math, I want to keep the focus on what kids are doing in classrooms everywhere. They're doing well in other areas. They're taking other assessments. We use the Ames Web. We use other assessments that really give us a big picture of what kids are doing with their performance and what's happening in teaching and learning. And I think a lot of times we get really zoom in on the kneecap test, and if you don't make AYP, you think things aren't going well. And certainly we need to work on the AYP, but I also have said before that more than half of the schools in New Hampshire have not made AYP. And that's growing every year. Now, that's not an excuse to say we don't need to do anything. It's a reason to be able to focus in on the kinds of things that we really want to do. But the kneecaps are only one assessment, and I always say that. And the last thing is that school board member Kelly Foster made a contact at UNH with Dr. Todd DeMitchell because of her concern and wanting to get more information, and we are looking for as many resources as possible. And Pat talked about talking to other people in other districts. She and I did meet with Dr. DeMitchell from UNH, gave some good ideas, and he's moving forward with gathering some resources and a couple of meetings with not only the people in Newmarket, but the surrounding towns, because everyone's kind of in the same boat with us. So one of the things that we really think is going to be helpful is that we collaborate with other people and we do some collegial kinds of things that are going to help teachers and provide the resources without this being another thing that teachers have to do, because this is very important. So I just want to say I appreciate you making that contact.
Sure.
And that was really a good thing for us to do, and so we appreciate it. But also thank you very much, Dan, for all you're doing with the department, because I know the teachers are doing, in some cases, they're going above and beyond.
Yeah,
So thanks.
they're really doing
And also Pat, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan.
Next, Mr. Chairman, we have a progress report from Lisa Kumpf with the Nutrition Task Force.
Hello.
Good evening.
I just wanted to come today, and thank you for inviting me here, to give you an update on the task force. I think it was 2 board meetings ago that the high school survey results were presented, and the idea of the task force came about then. We have a passionate group of people comprised of both staff, students, parents, and food service staff from both schools. And today we had our second meeting, and Mr. Lister was there for part of it. There's a lot that we've been talking about. We've been trying to review not only the nutrition that we're serving in the schools, what people are selling in the schools for fundraisers, and also what kind of nutrition education we're providing to the students. So our first meeting, we discussed, basically food service and how the food service is run, reimbursement, and we tried to cover all different ends of the piece. And then the second piece was the nutrition education, which seems to be dependent a little bit on what grade you're in. They receive a little bit in second grade, and then more as they get to the high school. And then different teachers tend to go over nutrition in their classes, whether it's at snack time or whether it's during a wellness event that we're having. Like we had Healthy Snack Day. We've also had a Healthy Snack Challenge, Caught You Eating Healthy, different things like that, where the teachers will go over nutrition education. So we have found a bunch of different areas that we would like to focus on for the coming year. One that came up from the high school survey was the salad bar, that students are asking for more fresh or I should say raw vegetables and fruit. Dan Kuchar's class did a great survey for us and a follow-up to the first survey, which showed results that the kids really, really want a self-serve salad bar. They don't want pre-made salads. They don't want made-to-order salads. They would really like to have the salad bar. So we are working on getting that salad bar to them. They said that they would, on average, purchase a salad 2.6 times per week. Or students that weren't purchasing lunch would purchase 2.6 times more a week if there was a salad bar there. So the trick with that is that their average desired cost for the salad bar is $1.86 for the salad. Right now, current lunch at the high school is $2.25. And as we all know from going to the stores recently, you know, fruit and vegetables are not cheap. So to try to feed the students a good meal for $2.25 is going to be our biggest challenge. One of the other things I looked at too was what do they see as waste, and what do the kids throw out most often? And it was interesting because it came up as vegetables. But what we figured out from the survey was that at both the elementary school and the high school, the students, the survey showed 2-to-1 that the students preferred raw over cooked vegetables. So they were throwing out the cooked vegetables from the tray, but they really want the raw vegetables. So that's the biggest piece we're going to strive for this fall, is to get the salad bar up and running. Should be ordered this week. And then we're talking with the food service staff about the best way to serve the salad bar. Whether it's that we have one of the staff help with it, just for cleanliness, and also just to kind of keep things a little bit in order and keep track of what the students are really getting. You know, the students have said for toppings, two top items were bacon bits and croutons. So we don't want them to fill up their lettuce with bacon bits and crouton, because that kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Like, those two items don't go bad very quickly, but they're not exactly fruits and vegetables either.
Exactly. So it's all a balance. So what we're striving for is a balance. The goals, you know, we've talked about a lot in our discussions, and it was a little bit tricky to try to narrow things down. We have some people that are very interested in certain different areas. So we are talking about sending a survey out to parents this fall to see about what they would be interested in, maybe having healthy cooking classes, nutrition education, maybe having a parent-child class together, along with if at any changes they would like to see to what is offered at school lunch. And also kind of looking at the cost a little bit, because the students, you know, are asking, you know, saying that $2.25 is too much to pay for lunch. And I know, I mean, in our house, you know, I don't think my kids really understand what you can buy for $2.25. And I'm sure the high school is a little bit different than the elementary school. But so that would be one thing that we're looking at. Offering the salad bar in the fall. I would also like to, we've talked to food service about doing a presentation to the school board about the food service and their reimbursements and how much they spend out, how much labor costs, and how they try to balance their budget. Also, what was suggested at our meeting today was that maybe we have a roundtable where there are some staff, some students, members from the community, and also a couple board members that sit around the table and kind of do like a roundtable discussion about the food service. You know, how do we make improvements but also cover? You know, it's like any other business. How do you, you know, cover your costs but also serve the best quality product? So the other things we're looking at are having a gardening at the elementary school. There are a couple staff members that are very motivated, interested in not only having the garden there, but also having the students tend to the garden and use it during class for, you know, talk about the growing process, and then have the students actually pick the vegetables and then use them for part of our food service. A healthy cooking class is also on its way, as I mentioned, for parents and children to do together, both at the elementary school and at the high school. So that will be, we'll be shooting for that in the fall. And, you know, we just want to work together for continuous improvement in the food that we're offering to our children. We're looking at things like high fructose corn syrup, partially hydrogenated oils, things that we've, you know, the buzzwords that are in the news now. Nutrition is a very hot topic right now. The food revolution is going through the country. You know, I think the Jamie Oliver show has sparked a lot of discussion, and it's, you know, there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of great things that are going on, especially in the Seacoast. There's local farmers that are interested in maybe having, you know, providing the food for our salad bar. You know, working with local farmers to bring the food here. Which would be great, not for free, because they need to live too, but, and also, you know, there's a chef to school, there's a lot of different programs that are very exciting, and a lot of different things that can, we can get involved in, so.
Excellent.
You should know that, I don't know if you already know this, you very well might, that, because I work at the university, the University Daycare Center over there, they have a garden that they grow and cultivate with their students, and they have all these programs, and I don't know what they use or what their resources are, but I bet you they would be really good to tap into to how to get something like that going.
That's great.
I know a person that I could
If
give
you
you
have
the
the
name of.
contact, that would
Yeah,
be
sure.
great. Yeah, there are a couple other schools in the area that actually do the same. I know Little Harbor School in Fort Smith, and
Amazing what they
so.
can get those little kids to come up with big
And you can grow
watermelons.
spring crops and fall crops, because that was a
Yeah.
concern. Everybody said, you know, what do you do in the summertime? And you just grow crops for the spring and crops for the fall, and let it go during the summertime. So
cool.
Excellent. Any
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you.
I've got a couple.
Oh, yes.
Have you, it sounds like you haven't yet discussed how the health curriculum may integrate in with the school. Is there any movement in that area?
There are a couple different things. One is that they're talking about, at the high school, about adding wellness, a wellness piece into the advisory advisory that they have in the morning for, is it a 15-minute period? 15 minutes, where there's about a group of 10 students that are with one staff member, and they talk about kind of different topics. We thought about kind of making kind of a more structured wellness piece where we would talk about nutrition 1 month and maybe exercise the next, and look at it as a holistic approach of all different pieces together. We've also talked about doing more education for the staff. I know Diane Beach has been sending out daily, kind of for the last 25 days of school, little tips on health, and a lot of people have commented on how helpful that has been. So we're talking about not only, you know, starting the education and doing more with the staff, but also maybe for the students using the bulletin boards in the cafeteria to have different topics each week where we can post up different things on, you know, all right, if you were going to eat 3 Oreos versus if you're going to eat something else, what, you know, what could you eat for the same amount, but for a more nutritional balance or a better return. And then, you know, we would like to talk about adding it in more places, but that haven't gotten to that point yet.
Tip of the iceberg. It seems
Exactly.
there's a lot,
Exactly.
a lot of opportunities. My other question, probably, I'll address it to you, Bob, is I'm curious how it's going with the posting of the nutritional information for today's lunch in the cafeteria. Is there any update on that?
Actually, I talked to the food service people about that this morning. They're beginning to put that together. I think they need some help from Lisa and others.
Well, and we said another big piece of that was it's great to put the information out there, but if the kids don't know how to read it and don't know how to look at it, then, you know, they might see, oh, it has so much fat. I'm not, you know, a good amount of fat, but I'm not going to eat that because I don't want to eat fat. And, you know, educating the kids on good fats versus bad fats and, you know, kind of what you want to look for in your foods. So we're going to try to find ways to put that into advisory and, you know, into the cafeteria and things on our web pages, and if we can offer classes. So we have a lot of exciting opportunities ahead. So.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for all
you.
you're doing with it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. The next presentation is Teacher Evaluation Committee. Dave Williams is here to talk about that. And if I can just, while he's coming to the podium, just mention that the reason this is on the agenda this evening is, as I said before, it's a work in progress. We're not asking for any decisions. That this is really intended to align the teacher contract and the evaluation process to provide some professional development for everyone involved, to use this as part of the new teacher orientation in August, to make sure that when people come to the district, and we are hiring several new teachers tonight, that they are well versed in what the expectations are with the evaluation system. It's going to be addressed at the administrators retreat in August about techniques for evaluation, and certainly to provide some consistency with the evaluations, so it's well understood by everyone. And it's a program that everyone knows and does the same, similar things with the evaluation system, so we can have a good evaluation of teachers. And I'll just also add that we are also, in, this isn't part of this, but we also have an evaluation out there for principals. And I would imagine that eventually the superintendent will be evaluated by the school board. So evaluation is something that is shared with all the administrators and the teachers and everyone in the district, including the custodians in food service and all the support people. So let me just say everyone. Evaluation is a vital part of what we do here in Newmarket. So Dave, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Before I get going into the evaluation model, I just want to mention that the Washington, D.C. trip was a great success. The kids had a fantastic time. They learned a lot. And I think most importantly, they experienced a lot of personal growth. So I really want to just thank the chaperones that went along with me, John Bridle, Donna McGuire, and Pat Yeager. They did a great job. And it's something we really hope that will be a culminating experience for our 8th grade students for years to come. Something we plan to do every year.
Thank you for getting that program off the ground. It's a wonderful thing.
Okay, the teacher evaluation model. We put together a committee this year to take a look at the present model and streamline it. The intent really was not to redesign the entire model. I'm hoping you had a chance to look at it. What I'd like to do is just go through it basically page by page and highlight the major changes. Really the goal behind this was to have a system that enables teachers to get meaningful, objective feedback that they can use to improve instruction. I mean, that was the bottom line, and I think we've succeeded in doing that. If you have the model in front of you, if you open to the page just after the district mission statement, details the philosophy, the purpose, and the goals of the model. One of the major changes between this model and the existing model was that the existing model had pages and pages of a rationale for this program and for the way the system worked. We ended up omitting that, and what we're going to do is replace that with Charlotte Danielson's Enhancing Professional Practice. And this is a book that we purchased for every teacher in the district, as well as every administrator in the district, including a handbook that goes along for any administrator or anyone else that's going to actually conduct an observation. So the model that we created is based directly on the work of Charlotte Danielson. And this model here is one of the most renowned and widely used models, I think, in education today. Many of the local districts in the Seacoast use this very model, as well as many schools around the country, and we're very confident in it. The old model was loosely based on this, but it also had a lot of bits and pieces from other models, and we found that it was very fragmented. So part of what we did was weed some of that out, and we went to really a strict Danielson model. If you turn to the next page, titled Newmarket School District Teacher Evaluation and Assistance Model, top is goal setting. Most of that has remained the same. There is a paragraph about halfway down the page titled Pre- and Post-Observation Conferences. And the major change there is that we are requiring all teachers to meet with an administrator for both a pre-conference and a post-conference for every formal observation. And we think that's important because, especially personally, when I sit down with a teacher for a pre-conference, it allows me to give them more meaningful feedback. And I think through this process, the feedback a teacher gets has to be meaningful to them. It has to be useful to them so that they can go back and improve instruction and improve learning. And I think that's the ultimate goal of that pre-conference. So every teacher that has a formal observation will have a pre-conference. There is an additional document in this model that is not in the old one that is essentially a lesson planning format. In that lesson planning format, teachers will have to fill that out before they come to that pre-conference, and that'll serve as a basis for discussion for the pre-conference. And that form was created based on the work of Charlotte Danielson. Likewise, in the post-conference, there is also a document teachers would have to fill out to bring to that post-conference, sort of a reflection piece. So the teacher would do a self-reflection on a lesson, bring that with them to the post-conference. That document is identical to the one that was in the prior model. The last paragraph on that, observation cycle and evaluation requirements, nothing has changed in that at all. The language is identical to the prior model. One thing that was omitted, in the existing model, there were different options for supervision. In lieu of an observation each year, a teacher could choose to do a project, they could choose to do a portfolio. There were a variety of other options that they could have for supervision. We took that out because we found that in certain cases, particularly at the elementary building, I think, there were some teachers that were able to go years and years and years without an observation. In the new model, it requires that all teachers are observed at least once a year, and that is consistent with the collective bargaining agreement. The goal-setting conference, that is identical to the prior model. On the next page, you'll find the instruction plan for a single lesson. The intent is not that teachers would use this on a day-to-day basis. This would be strictly for a formal observation that would happen once or twice a year. I think it's important to note at this time how many observations teachers will receive. A tenured teacher will receive 1 observation every year. Teachers in their first year in Newmarket will receive 3, and all non-tenured staff will receive 2. That would be non-tenured staff in their second or third year. On the next page, you find the observation report. And this instrument was created or revised because the existing one consisted, if you recall, of a very cumbersome checklist. And we found that it was difficult to use. It just was very artificial. And we felt, both administrators and teachers felt like it was difficult for teachers to get the feedback they needed. With this system here, an administrator would be able to go in and give a summary of the observation, and then it would require the administrator to respond to each of the Danielson domains. Those domains being planning and preparation, classroom environment, and instruction. And then, of course, there's an area for comments and suggestions. The next document is the summative report. The intent for the summative report, that will be sort of the sum of the teacher's observation cycle. The language in here is exactly as it was in the prior model, in that tenured teachers would receive a summative evaluation that coincides with their 3-year cycle for recertification. All non-tenured staff would have a summative every single year. The summative looks very similar to the single observation form, except it has the additional domain that deals with professional responsibilities. Following the summative sheet is the teacher's self-assessment. That is a document teachers would bring with them to a post-conference. And the plan for improvement. The plan for improvement is identical to the way it was before, except the format is different. In the old plan, it was in a grid that was very difficult to use. There really wasn't a lot of space for administrators to add feedback. This is a system that I think is easier for teachers and administrators to use. In the final page, the observation cycle and evaluation requirements, those are identical. There have been no changes that have been made there. So at this point, I'd like to take any questions that you might have.
Chet?
Do the teachers have daily planning books?
Some teachers do, some don't. I mean, teachers are really free to plan as they choose. Some teachers do it online. A lot of them use, day planners online. But the expectation is teachers are planning each and every day. And again, some do use the planning books. Some do it online. It's really up to them how they want to plan on a day-to-day basis.
If they don't, let's say within a week's period, can administrator come to them and say, I want to see how your plan is going for the past week or the week ahead, and how does it relate to your goal?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And when we sit down with teachers and we do an observation, that's exactly the discussion that we'll have. It's one of the questions I always ask. I know you've prepared this lesson plan for me for this particular lesson I'm coming to observe, but how do you do it on a regular basis and what's happening? It's something we try to stay in tune with.
I guess one concern I have is kind of I have a feel of formality about this, where there's a form you fill out before regarding a specific day, and I'm imagining that every day at school always goes as planned and nothing surprising ever comes up. So I'm kidding. It's, of course, something may happen where an observation is planned for a particular day and it can't happen, or it seems that I'm really not quite sure how to say it. It seems very structured that, okay, well, I'm going to be observed on Thursday, and so that's the day I'll plan this lesson, rather than having it be more impromptu. Good teaching, good learning has to happen every day, and is there flexibility in this? Is this? It says it's for I'm imagining kind of pre-conference happen. Well, it's going to happen, we do the pre-conference, but I'm not going to get to your classroom, unfortunately, because these things happen.
Absolutely. It has to be fluid like that. We have to be flexible with it. The pre-conference doesn't always have to be a sit-down meeting. For me, especially these last few years, as I was getting to know the staff, I wanted to do it that way because it helped me to learn the staff as educators. I want to know who you are as an educator, how you plan, et cetera, et cetera. Once we know the teachers better, it doesn't always have to be that way. This system right here is specific to formal observations. There are other types of observations. They could be unannounced observations, where we wouldn't even have a pre-conference. An administrator would simply come in, visit the room for at least 30 minutes, take notes, and provide the teacher with feedback. This one here is set up for formal observations, so you can get a big picture. How is the teacher planning? How are you assessing your students? Are you making accommodations for your special ed students? How are you assessing work? We want to make sure that everybody has those components and they're solid with that. They're able to plan it out. They're able to have the foresight to do it. But we still would be very fluid with it. I mean, a lot of times, like you say, if I have an appointment to visit a teacher at a certain period, there's another crisis in the building, I'm not going to be able to be there at that time, so we have to be flexible. I think the pre-conference can sometimes happen via email. It could be a casual conversation in a lunchroom, just so we touch base. Hey, I'm coming in, I'd like to come into your classroom. When would you like me there? Can you come in tomorrow, D period? Sure. This will be a formal observation. If you can you please get that form done? Maybe it's going to be an informal thing where you don't have to do that this time. But we want to make sure at least once a year, every teacher goes through the process, the formal process, so that we can get a sense of how they're planning and how they're assessing student learning.
Okay.
How often are unannounced observations conducted?
There's no set schedule.
But is that a routine thing? Do you do that, or is that?
We do from time to time, absolutely. Okay. And if a teacher wants to have an administrator come in, we can do that at any time. There have been many times this year where different teachers have said, hey, I'm doing this in my classroom. I'd really like you to come in and see it. We'll come in and take a look.
But there's no, conflict with their bargaining?
There is not. No, there is not.
You can come in and observe them at any time, and you're not
There is. And both Mr. Andisky and I try to have a presence in the classroom. We walk through the classrooms. We try to just be a presence with the students. I try to interact with the kids in different classrooms on a daily basis. It's just good practice.
Great.
Mr. Williams, another quick question. I'm still hung up on this daily planning thing.
Sure.
A parent comes in with a conference, and the first thing it says to the teachers, can you show me what my child you've been teaching my child in the past 2 or 3 months?
Sure.
And if the teacher doesn't have that hard copy, I have a problem with that.
That part of the curriculum mapping and stuff?
Yeah, I think most teachers.
You can't go that way. You're teaching concepts. So if you have a textbook, you're not going to teach every problem in a textbook. You're going to teach the concepts out of that textbook.
No, certainly not. I think Kelly hit the nail on the head where the teachers are they're mapping their curricula in tech paths, and teachers are required to do that. So every time a teacher does a new unit, they're required to actually go into tech paths and detail that unit, including the essential questions, the key concepts they're covering. Right. And that doesn't go anywhere. That's always there. So if a parent ever made that request, the teacher could go in and actually get a printout of the units they've taught, different concepts. This is exactly what we did with your kid. And I think our teachers are very good at keeping a good record of what they do.
But teachers who want to use a hard copy, do they have planning books available?
We don't issue them anymore. Correct?
Some of that is important, whether it's electronically or otherwise, for preparing for other unexpected things like unplanned absences, so that I'm expecting that there's some sort of lesson available for
Absolutely.
the classroom when a teacher's not in.
Yes, in that case, teachers are all required to have at least 2 days of emergency lesson plans, just in case there is an unplanned absence. And most teachers are very good if they know they're going to be out. I have people in the building at 5 in the morning preparing something that is consistent with what they've been doing, so there's not too much disruption to the continuity.
Okay, don't want to get too far off topic. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm all set. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Yep, thank you.
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, because it's a lot of work for administrators to do, but it's a very valuable process. So if you have a new employee, then you are going to be meeting with that new employee 10 times for 6 meetings for pre and post, 3 observations, and 1 summative?
Yes, but not necessarily one person. We have.
And you split the responsibilities, I understand, for evaluation?
That's correct. Mr.
Okay.
Andriski, Chris O'Callahan, our special ed director, does evaluations
Okay.
for our special ed staff. Also, department heads would do observations at the junior senior high school.
Okay.
So we'd be able to split that out. So if a teacher were to have 3 observations in a year, a new teacher, it could be one
That
by
could
myself, Mr. Andriski, and a department head. So we could really split that.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
And Mr. Williams, if we have any clarifying points, we can talk about that after this, because this is
Yes.
a progress report, and we can.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we're finished with math. Are we okay with math and Pat?
Yep.
We're good. We've had nothing math. Okay. Thank you very much for these reports. Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone's time. Thank you very much. Not at this point. Can you see me later or something? Sure.
Great, yeah, thank you for all those updates. That was valuable.
It's printable. The online stuff is printable.
All right. I still like daily planners.
Okay.
Okay, we have a superintendent's report.
Superintendent's report. A few items I'd just like to mention. School board retreat. We're planning for Saturday. I know I sound like a broken record, but bear with me. Saturday, June 26th, 8:30 to 3. And I will be sending you out some additional information with an agenda and have packets available that day, so you'll have an idea. I've also included another copy of the sheet, the priorities, if I could ask you to send those back to me. That'll help build the agenda for the day. I went to the town council last night to talk about the Comcast franchise fee. Matt Seaton went with me, and Doug Poulin, who's with the town, IT person with the town, and we made a request for 2 things. One was a continued dialogue with the town council, with the schools, to be able to talk about the needs with technology, and especially taping of different events around the community. There was some talk about a second channel. That'll be discussed down the road. The town administrator, Ed, was very supportive and very willing to have this discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to meet with the town council members. They had some good questions, and obviously they have some concerns that we need to work out. And the second thing we asked for was money available at this particular time for the purchase of equipment, filming equipment, to be able to film different events around the town. And again, not always just for the school, but looking at this more as a community and being able to highlight the kinds of things that are happening with kids, and meetings, and Fun Day, and the opening of the new softball field, and et cetera, et cetera. So that will be a continued dialogue with them. And they did ask Matt, Doug, and I to provide them with some additional information about equipment, which we will do. So there will be some follow-up to that as well. The staff is already working on next year. They're working on a program for summer staff development. There are many things that are happening, and I'm sure you'll receive an update about that later on. I mentioned the administrators retreat in August, and there are several workshops and people going to workshops. There are several speakers that are coming to the district, so this work is never ending. So even though summer vacation is upon us soon, there are still many things that are still in the works. I'd also like to be able to take the opportunity to thank all the parents and the volunteers. I went to the volunteer tea today at the elementary school, and typical of volunteers, I know there are about 50 or 60 volunteers tomorrow for field day, but people just have a difficult time coming to a tea and having a piece of cake and vegetables. I'm sorry, vegetables. Fresh vegetables and dip, and be recognized for the kinds of things that they're doing. So I just want to say we appreciate all the work that all the volunteers put in the schools, and the grandparents who come to the classrooms, and the people just come to read and really kind of help us out. So it's a valuable resource. So thank you very much, everyone. We certainly appreciate that. I also want to thank Mary Forsyth Tabor from the Epping Newmarket Family Coalition, who helped us sponsor the forum, the parent forum, with Mr. Andruski at the high school on Monday, June 7th, with 3 or 4 speakers, and provided a meal and provided some childcare if necessary. Again, that coalition and her coming forth with some money from one of her grants was really helpful to us. So we appreciate that and all the work that went into that. Again, another example of a collaboration, a partnership with people in the community. I want to welcome Matt Crawford as a student representative into the Newmarket School Board, and wish him the best, and I know he's going to make a great contribution to this group. I also would like to thank Jordan Cartledge for knowing him and working with him closely here. And it's interesting that one of the first times I met Jordan was he was involved in the plunge with Special Olympics, and this is long before I came to Newmarket. And then I met him once at a gas station, and come to find out he ends up sitting next to me at school board meetings. So you just never know. So it's a good thing I behaved myself. So Jordan, we wish you the best at the University of New Hampshire, and thank you very much. I also would like to wish Dr. Hayes, Jim Hayes, the best as he transitions into the superintendency here. And I've said this before, I see great things happening for the town of Newmarket and Newmarket School. So I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for the gift and the opportunity to be here myself, and this has been a great experience for me and my family, and I've enjoyed coming here every day when I get up. I enjoy coming to Newmarket, and it's because of the teachers, because of the administrators and the community. And if you remember, I came in the middle of some floods, and I canceled school the first couple of days, so everybody loved me the first week. But as we have to now go to June 24th, people are questioning their love in the room. So, but this has been a great experience for me, and I really appreciate the opportunity that I've had here with everyone, and the support from the school board, from the teachers, the staff, the administrators, and I think you have some of the best kids in the world. And the last but not least is the last day of school is Thursday, June 24th. It's a half day for students and a full day for staff. And what you don't want to hear is the first day of school is August 30th, Monday for students, and the first day for teachers is August 26th, Thursday. And the 26th and 27th are workshop days, and I know that there are Pat Ballantyne and the other administrators have lots of things planned for them, and there's a lot of work to be done to begin the new school year. But you're hiring some very qualified teachers. You have a lot of veterans coming back, a lot of good things going on in the school system, and priorities are there, lots of projects to work on, and I can't say any more than for everything. Just thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. So, Mac, what have you gotten yourself into?
All right.
Here we go.
Do you have a report for us this
I do.
evening?
First of all, I want to say thank you for welcomed me with open arms, and I am very excited to fill Jordan's shoes well. So to start, we had graduation last Friday for the class of 2010, and I believe it was a success. It was beautiful out on that Friday, and I was also very lucky to be a part of the commencement. I was an usher for it as well. So that went well. Final start tomorrow for the high school, and we'll run through next Wednesday. And also, if I may add, that I'm noticing that like some teachers are doing more final projects instead of a hard copy exam. So just different styles of teaching that I'm noticing. And then on June 22nd, the 6th grade has a field trip to the Seacoast Science Center. Should be a good time for them. And our boys varsity baseball team ended their season last Sunday in the semifinals against Pittsburgh at Plymouth State University. And they had a nice run, but ended short. And June 24th is the day where summer begins, and we're out of there. That's all I got for it.
Great. Thanks, Mac.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a facilities update?
Mr. Chairman, if I just say a couple of words about facilities, maybe Sukaz would like to chime in also. We had another meeting last week at 6:30 in the morning here, and we have a group of people who have begun to meet with us. We decided that we would meet again on June 23rd at 7 o'clock at night upstairs. The purpose of the meeting the other day was to really begin the process of talking about the options if there were to be any expansion of the educational program. We talked about expansion of the elementary school. In addition, on the elementary school, we talked about the modulars. We talked about the 3 options for Newmarket Middle and High School, one being sending students to another district, and you will be remembered that there's a warrant article that asked us to do that and respond to that. As a result of that, I was given the task of sending a letter to the 8 surrounding school districts, which I've done, and I've started to hear from them already. The superintendent's asking them if they would be interested in consolidating our 295 high school students in their district. So that's done. I'll report back on that on June 23rd. That information, all this information will come back to the board as well. The other option is to talk about an addition renovation on the present junior senior high school. And the third option was to talk about building a new school someplace. And again, right now, this is just a conversation we're having. One of the issues around the facilities committee was really to get people to come to the table, have an open mind. And Mr. Jablonski was there as well, so if he would like to add something, certainly would be interested in that. But really have everybody come to the table with an open mind and begin the process of start talking about what the needs of our kids are, what the needs of the community really are, and yet being sensitive to the taxpayers and talking about some of the options. So I think it was very productive. We're keeping notes. We will have notes of minutes of all the meetings. And there is a group of people who came to the last meeting who are sifting through all the boxes of previous evaluations that were done of buildings, sites, all kinds of architectural kinds of things, and that's a pretty overwhelming task because I have the two of the boxes in my office, and it's there's a lot of information in there. So trying not to reinvent the wheel, but be able to provide the committee with the information we need to be able to come to some decision here, or the decision of what's going to happen next. This is not a committee that's been sanctioned by, the school board, the town council, anywhere. Right now, we're looking for input. There'll be more information out about that. Everyone will have an opportunity, I'm sure, down the road to put in their feelings about the facilities committee. But right now, we're talking about what the needs of our students are, and where the community is going to go, and again, what the options are. So it's we'll meet again at 7 o'clock on the 24th upstairs. Mr. Jablonski, would you like to add anything?
You've said it all, Bob. It's we talked. We kind of did some helter-skelter thinking and talking, and I gave him some ideas of my meeting with Oyster River and Barrington, and we talked about costs and the amount of pupils, how many they'll lose, and And Cole Brown was involved in the discussion, and so was Dover High School. So there's a lot of talking going on with all the schools in the area, and we'll see what happens.
Sue, anything? Okay. And Meg was there, that's right. Meg was there as well. It was early.
You were
6:30. Yeah, thank you for all those that are involved in that at this point. Getting the ball rolling again. Okay, on to the policy committee then. We've got a couple of first reads, do we, tonight?
Well, and Meg and I can address this, please. We're just now getting the policy committee back into the rotation that you should see. So you're at least working on a couple of policies at each meeting. Have a first reading with an overlap of a second meeting. The first two policies we gave you last time, one was the acceptable use policy for technology, and the second was the athletic eligibility. The purpose of that was to give that to you, and if there is we need a first reading, then a second reading. If tonight you were ready to do a first reading, we would take a motion to vote those for a first reading. Again, there's still ample time between now and the next board meeting for anyone to have any input to that, to read them. Anyone in the community who's interested in what these policies are, we have them available at the SAU office. Certainly would make them available to anyone. But we're really trying to keep up with the policies. And you heard me early this evening talk about a policy for memorials and address those issues. There is a policy book that the district has, and we really need to make sure that we go through that in a chronological order to make sure that our policies are up to date. But from time to time, there will be a policy that really needs to be addressed, or something new will come up that we want to be able to pay attention to. But I think it's important that we continue going through the policy books so you keep up with that, because if you needed that in case of any legal kinds of events or any kind of negotiations, it's always a good idea to have those current and have paid some attention to those. So tonight we have, I guess I'm recommending, we're recommending as a committee, that we have we vote a first reading for those two policies. And then what we've done is to give you two more policies as part of that overlap. One is the athletic contract, which is really not a policy, but again, it's something that probably we should have revised and make sure everyone looks at in case there are any revisions. And I know that the high school administration has already looked at that and given us some changes, but they probably need that to put that in the student handbook for the opening of schools. So some of these have a time attached to them, so we want to make sure they're done. And the second policy that we have is a special needs policy, programs for pupils with disabilities. And we may want to change the word pupils, for instance. I mean, some of this is just outdated. But that one's for next time, the first reading next time. So, Mr. Chairman, if you have, I guess, understand what I've been saying. I feel like I'm just going on here. I feel like I'm just going on and on. I don't mean to. But be able to have a first reading for the first two policies.
Absolutely. In the past, we haven't had a formal vote to have a first read. I'm not sure how folks feel about that, but basically have the policy committees, recommend, or basically just present as a first read, and then have a brief discussion, and then
that's fine,
and make sure that the community knows that they have the opportunity both to be present at the second read, but also hopefully have the opportunity to provide their thoughts and insight to the SAU office, so that all those concerned are considered in that policy. So,
Can I also add, excuse me, that we will post when our meetings are. So if anyone wanted to come to a committee meeting and address a particular issue, there's that opportunity, as well as submitting something to us in writing, as well as, I guess, coming to the section on the agenda that says, welcome to visitors.
Mhm.
That would be probably the least likely place they'd want to do that, but certainly provide some feedback about particular policies. That there are opportunities to do that.
So with that, do you want to present these policies with a little introduction?
In what
perhaps?
format do you want me to do that? Do you want me to first find them? And, because didn't have it in my packet this time. I'm looking through my agenda last time. I can certainly read them. Is that what you want the format to be?
Well, for policies that are lengthy, I think it's a little bit unwieldy to read the whole thing, but if there are pieces that get to the nut of them.
I'm sorry, I'm a little embarrassed right now. I'm trying to look through my agenda and I'm not finding them at my fingertips. If you give me a second.
Sure.
Unless somebody has a copy available. Like,
Is it this one that
on
we're
the
going
spot.
over?
No, it was that's.
Oh, the athletic.
Thank you. Oh, you want me to do I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to review the ones that we talked about last week.
Oh, we do. You don't have those?
No, I have not in this board packet, but I had it in my last board packet and I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't bring my copies, so I can't help you.
I might have them.
Sorry.
This is where we say, talk amongst yourselves.
Mac, some good jokes at this point in
I'm
time?
trying to think what come in my head.
I have them right here.
You have them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can briefly talk about them. I remember the previous conversation, but if you want, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lister. Okay. So for the first one on guidelines for athletic eligibility, we had decided to remove some of the language that specified how coaches and students should behave on the field, and we thought it would be more appropriate to focus on criteria for athletic ability, such as grades, we thought the first policy was a little vague, and we wanted some more specific information in there to deal with this difficult topic sometimes. So we made it more specific. And then on the acceptable use policy, we added terms such as cyberbullying under number 6. Under number 13, we removed web page and included more recent terms. And we deleted number 16 because it's dated. It was disk space. And under 19, we added more information about disciplinary action, so there is consistency in each building. So those are some of the proposed changes from the policy committee on those.
And most of it was just updating the verbiage
Right.
and the language.
And putting more specifics.
Right. And really emphasizing sportsmanship and the eligibility, and also the technology, the acceptable use
Yep.
policy. If that isn't used for all employees, that should be for employees as well as students.
Have one policy for encompassing all.
Well, most places have a district policy for acceptable use, meaning whether you work here or you go to school here, if you're going to use a computer in the district, there are certain guidelines and rules and consequences if you don't follow that policy.
The one question I have is regarding the acceptable use policy. Is the intent for that to include use of other technology, cell phones, et cetera, or should that be handled separately?
It's been suggested that it be handled separately, because I know that I have had a board member contact me and want to look at the cell phone policy as a separate entity.
So this policy would refer to use of school equipment, essentially.
Using the internet in the school district, using school computers, even though we have blocks on many things, just, it's to protect students and the employees.
So it needs to be clear what the expectations are.
Right.
Absolutely. So do we have that well, I don't have a copy. I'm not really feeling comfortable calling it a first read if we all don't
You don't have to move ahead if you choose not to. It's,
And we did get a copy at our last board meeting,
Yes,
which I
we did.
just pulled out from my packet, but if you didn't have an opportunity to review it, then we should take some time to put it on the next agenda.
Okay, so why don't we do that?
Okay.
Oh, here it is.
and can I also add that
Find mine in a second.
when we have some of these policies, we wouldn't move them forward with the school board without the administrators looking at them, the athletic director, to make sure the right people have access to these, because they do affect a lot of people. So we want to make sure everyone who's responsible has an opportunity to look at them.
Okay,
So would it be acceptable to propose that we now have 4 policies that we first read at the next meeting? Or is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a July meeting, it
Mhm.
shouldn't be too huge, although I shouldn't say that. Maybe it will be, I don't know.
Our new superintendent may have plans for us.
Yeah, who knows?
And from prior to the meeting, I did learn that there were some recent changes being proposed regarding the eligibility policy, so it might be prudent to noodle that around a little bit more. So
maybe it's fair to say that the one that we got in our packet, the athletic contract, is not as up to date as this one that you gave me today, Chris?
Those would be proposed changes that Jamie Hayes and myself would go through.
So should we maybe cycle that through all of
I
us?
think Bob said make sure that we're all in collaboration.
Yeah, so.
Because of the HIA standards specifically at the high school.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, we should get copies to
So
everyone.
we'll have fresh copies of what the policy committee is recommending as the new policy for first read for all 4 of those for our July meeting.
Yes.
Will that be online?
I'm sorry?
Will that be online?
Can we post them on the website, you're saying, in
Yes.
the meantime?
Well, it's better if we post them once they've been adopted, because if they're drafts, that way people can't interpret them in different ways. Or there might be 2 or 3 different drafts, or it's just, once they're adopted, they will be on the website and in the policy book.
It, just so folks know that all of our adopted policies are available on the website presently, so our current acceptable use policy, eligibility policies are present there for people to give feedback on. I don't want to discourage people from getting the information, so if reviewing those, if they feel they need more information, I guess, to call the district, I think, or email the district would be a good next step. Okay.
Okay.
So then, are we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's move to the business department section of our meeting. So new phone proposal we have?
Sure, but first, I just wanted to give you an update on the modular unit.
Great.
Yesterday, Rick Molaski stopped in, and he's ready to go June 28th to start the work on the area behind the elementary school to prepare for the pad and digging the trenches to get the electrical and plumbing to the unit. So we should start on the 28th of June. We talked about the things that Rick needs to order to maybe get some additional equipment and how we're going to handle that. So he's just going to have those invoices forwarded to the school department. So we're going to pay for all of those expenses that are associated with the work to prepare for the modular unit at the elementary school. Contract, actually I sent the contract back to our insurance company just to review some of the clauses in there to make sure we're okay with our insurance carrier, and we'll be getting the contract for that lease in the next week. So that's where we are with the modular unit. So we know. And I guess we'll go with one proposal. Any questions on the modular?
Well, what's the anticipated finishing date
Well, as far as the groundwork, we're supposed to complete that in a week if he wants to get through that. And then there's a process with the state fire marshal. I've actually called the engineer to come down. He has to do some kind of a evaluation, and there's stipulations that we need to meet with that unit, so that has to happen. And then once all of that's ready, we'll talk about when they're going to actually drive it down and set it up. So obviously, we'll have to be ready for, what is it, August 30th?
Right. Well, teachers
we're
are...
we're on schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
August 26th.
Great.
We're good to go with that.
Super.
Phone proposal. We are at the end of our 3-year agreement with One Communications for just basic phone service. That's just the lines that come into schools and actually our internet connection. So we went out, actually Matt helped me with this. He talked to Bayring and a couple of other companies, and we got some proposals from them just for the service that we get to the buildings for our basic phone service. One of the things that One Communications is proposing is they have a new option, and that's basically to lease new phone systems. I think I put some information on the copy that I sent to you about what we currently have. Our current phone system we purchased in 1998, limited capabilities. We can't communicate from school to school, from SAU to each building. It's pretty much standalone systems in each of the buildings. And we did do a voicemail upgrade in 2004. So the proposal that One Communications has given to us would include, and you can see the cost per month, would include new phones for all of the current phones that we have in the building. I think they indicated there would be 53 phones. We would have 3 conference phones, one for each school. It also includes a number of voicemails for people that don't have phones in the buildings. And then an upgrade, which Matt feels is the most important, to our connection to a 6 meg. We currently have a 3 meg connection. So that's what this proposal I have before you. It is more than we currently have in the budget, but it is eligible for E-rate reimbursement at 40%. We are receiving reimbursement from E-rate currently. As a matter of fact, we just received $10,000 for our 2008 E-rate reimbursement. So in the event that we decide to do this, and we don't have to make that decision now, we could have all new phone systems, and it'd be a 3-year lease. We'd upgrade our internet connection and continue to pay for long distance, local calls, and more than likely with our E-rate reimbursement, pay slightly more than we're currently paying now. So it's a pretty good deal. And the reason One Communications is coming out with this is to help small businesses, small companies, because of the capital investment that you have to make when you purchase a new system. We looked at it 2 or 3 years ago, and we were talking $60,000 to $75,000 just to put new phones in all of our buildings. These phones, I think I gave you, I think these are Cisco phones. Nice systems, what the town currently has.
So it's similar to
Yes.
what I'm looking at over here?
Yes, yes, it has a lot of capabilities. I can go online and check my voicemail. I can be at home and have my calls forwarded at home. I mean, it's incredible what it can do. So,
Is the town office happy with
I believe
these
so.
phones?
They've had them, quite an upgrade from what they had, so I think they were very pleased with them. I didn't, actually go in and ask them, but when they got them, I know they were thrilled. As I said, they have a lot of capabilities. Actually, they came in and they demoed the product for us, sat down and showed us all the different features, probably more than we'll ever use, but pretty nice.
So when will you need a,
Well, actually, just looking for, September is the deadline on our current system, so I just wanted to see if you're interested, you want me to pursue this. If not, I can go back to them and just say, give us a basic, same as we already have, proposal, upgrade. Matt is very interested in upgrading the internet connection. That's important. We're experiencing a lot of slow time.
so This will be doubling our bandwidth
doubling our bandwidth.
for essentially the same money.
Right, exactly.
Well, I'm interested,
Okay.
certainly.
Okay, it makes sense.
When I go to the district site and I watch the
The thing,
the
everything's
pictures fill
16
slowly.
items
Yeah.
remaining, 12 items
Oh, that's
remaining.
definitely helped with that, yes. Definitely be an improvement.
Okay.
Okay.
And it'll also provide voicemail boxes for everybody?
Everything, yeah.
Like, does anybody have voicemail boxes in this district? Elementary school doesn't, right?
No.
Okay. I don't call the middle school, senior school, but, okay. So then everybody will have, okay.
Even
they
though
That would be fantastic.
don't have a phone, they will
They
have
have
the
the
ability to go to a
capability to-
phone
right,
and call
okay.
into it and get their voicemail.
Right.
And they can conceivably, at the end of the day, go home and
Yes.
check their messages.
Yes.
And get back to parents.
Mhm.
Okay, that would be great.
Is this wireless?
It has some wireless capabilities, it does. But they are gonna send an engineer to do some more research. If you say, you know, we wanna go forward and do some more research to see what we may need to put in place, but they're quite confident that we have everything in place. Matt was quite confident that, based on what they've looked at this point, that we should be able to make that happen.
Does it require recabling?
No, it does not. We are all set with that. The last upgrade we made, we put,
Cat
Cat
5?
5, Cat 5 in all of our drops, yes. we did.
So that was a concern if we're going to do this in September, if we had to rewire, that would be
Right, no.
very disruptive.
I'd like to have you check with our new superintendent on that also before we go forward with anything. Because I think Jim should.
He's taking notes. Great, thank you for bringing that forward.
The next item I have is, you authorized the withdrawal of some of the technology trust funds to expend on a couple of items, and we have ordered the laptops for the elementary. We received the invoice, and I just need a motion to approve the withdrawal, so I can send out a letter to the trustee and bring that money into the general fund. Actually, I'd like to do it before June 30th, so that's why I have that there for you. And that's $13,170.
So you're looking for a motion to transfer $13,170 from our capital reserve fund,
Technology Expandable Trust Fund.
Technology Expandable Trust Fund, for the purpose of,
Purchasing the laptops for the elementary school.
So moved.
So, and I'll second that.
any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
And the next item is, at the last meeting, you asked me to give you an estimated cost of the people that I knew that were interested in adding their dependents, and I actually put the amount. Actually, there's only 3 people that inquired about it. One person currently has a 2-person plan. They would go to the family, and the cost of that would be an additional $6,690. And then the other 2 people already have family plans. And that's all I know at this point. I did go through and look at all of the health applications and kind of look at dependents and where they were, and there doesn't appear to be a whole lot of students that would be at that level at this time. So I don't anticipate a huge impact on the budget.
So it would really only be that amount
Right.
that we didn't budget for.
Right, but again, there's always some flexibility in that, because as you know, people can make changes in their health insurance at any time. And new hires, someone may leave that has a family plan, and someone new may come with a single, and there's always a little flux there. So I'm quite sure we can cover that.
So that's within the bounds of what you anticipate?
Right,
Sue, can you go over that again in terms of what that all means?
What that all means is healthcare reform. One of the provisions for healthcare reform is to allow students up to the age of 26, children up to the age of 26, to be part of your health plan, irregardless of their status in school. In the past, they had to be enrolled in a program of college with at least 12 credits. They had to reside with the parent in the state of New Hampshire and be unmarried. Healthcare reform, as of September 23rd, changes all of that. And all of that goes away, and up to the age of 26, they are allowed to stay on your plan. There are a few provisions in there where they can't, but for the most part, you can leave them on your plan. So our plan, our anniversary date is July 1st. And because that happens after our anniversary date, you can opt to make that happen next July 1st. Or you can endorse that now and start at July 1st of this year. But that's up to you to make that decision. You have that choice.
So that would cost the district $6,000 plus?
Well, it would be an additional at this point in time, right? But it is within the budget. I mean, there is always, like I said, there's always some flexibility within the budget from people coming and going and changes in plans. Does that make sense?
So if we were interested in doing that, this would be a good time to make a motion to that? Do you
Right.
want a motion to?
Right, we need to do that now for July 1st.
Yeah, and then essentially we would need to wait until the next enrollment date?
It would automatically happen. It's by law, required by law, to next enrollment date.
But in 6 months' time, there wouldn't be sense in doing it at that point in time. It's really basically we would need to do it now.
Right, because it's going to automatically happen in your next anniversary date.
So basically, it's only making it, it's like a special for the people that are currently in that situation that could now offer this to their children.
Right.
That's what we would be helping.
Right.
Well, they're not children, they'd be older people, won't they? They'd be somebody beyond 21?
Right,
Yeah.
young adults.
Yeah.
They're
And again, it was one of the intents of healthcare reform is that's one of the group of individuals that typically does not have insurance because they're in that transition period between, finishing up school, not actually having a full-time job, and they kind of don't have the plan. And in the past, there hasn't been any options for them other than to get a plan on their own, which can be very expensive. So leaving them on the plan provides that
Couldn't the
coverage.
teachers who have this plan purchase a rider to carry this person or persons? They can't do it?
You'd have to go out on your own and get.
Hmm.
It is very costly.
okay. Well, I'm not hearing enthusiastic.
Well, I mean, I'm struggling because I think it would be a very nice thing to do for a vulnerable population of young adults. And $6,000 in the grand scheme of things is not going to kill our budget. But I'm mindful that, budgets are tight, and if we had an unanticipated expense occur, I'm just...
And we came out in our budget season talking about how we were trying to save in all of these areas, and for us to then turn around and, not like you said, it's not an exorbitant expense, but it just,
They add up.
yeah.
Because then if we have the phone, now we're going to be short, $1,600, so we'll have to absorb that in the budget somehow. So these little pockets of money, not that it's $7,000, I know, I feel like I'm...
But it is money.
So we're saying it would happen in September anyways?
No, next
July.
Next.
It happens in September for everyone else, under the non-traditional, we have the enrollment date of July 1st.
What would be the difference if somebody else purchasing it? If this is a person we have on this plan, but what about somebody else who isn't on this plan? They would have to go out and purchase it. What would be the difference? Why should we carry it? I think it basically is getting beyond what we need to do, personally. Now, I have got some reaction from people on this that heard this last time, and they said we shouldn't be getting into that. That's my plan on that.
So then you need to make a motion to not accept it.
Well, we don't.
Well,
if
we
we
just
take
don't
no
make a
action,
motion.
we're not.
Okay.
You have to make a motion to accept
Okay.
it,
Although a motion to do nothing is.
Kind of.
But there's a basketball game.
That's right.
So unfortunately, I think that we're moving on. then,
Yes.
right?
I think
Okay.
that's my sense.
I
you know.
agree.
But, thank you for bringing
Bringing
that
that to
to our
us.
attention, and it's not easy.
No, I agree.
So next July, Sue, you're saying that all the people who are on our plan here in this district are gonna be covered through the age of 26,
If they choose to.
if they choose to?
I mean, you won't have a whole lot that, for most cases, they're moving on, they're employed, and they have, but there are some cases where, those few transition years, they need coverage.
And that's gonna be through state, is it RSA?
It's through the federal government, it's
Federal
healthcare
government?
reform, it's healthcare reform.
Okay, healthcare reform. That hasn't come out yet, like you just said. It won't come out till when? Probably in the fall, the healthcare reform?
This is in effect now, there are already some provisions for healthcare reform in
Yes.
effect right
Yeah,
now.
I've been reading some of it,
Yes,
yeah.
there are several items in there
Yeah.
that are in effect right now. And the different things phase in different years, out till 2018, so.
Can you keep us in touch with
Sure.
what's happening with that?
As I learn more about it, I will, but this is
Okay.
one of them that,
All right.
that is, right now, we need to make decisions.
And one of the hats that you wear.
Okay? Thanks.
Thanks, Sue. Any other business items?
No, actually, I didn't bring you a budget update because I think after we've gone through all of the expenditures and asked for all the additional funds, we're gonna just let everything go forward and become part of the trust funds. And I'll be bringing it out in July to give you an estimate of what that will be. Because we did get approval to fund all of them, and whatever is left will go into them, and any more will turn back to the taxpayers.
Okay.
But thank you for approving the few expenditures we did have. Appreciate that.
Thank you for bringing them to our attention. Okay, on to personnel matters, I guess. Resignations or other leave requests. Do we have any?
Yes, we have one resignation, and that is resignation from Kathleen Kelly, who is presently a paraprofessional at the junior senior high school, and she's resigning her position at the end of the school year.
Should I make a motion to accept the resignation of Kathleen Kelly? Or do you have to
Okay.
say more than that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And we thank her for her service to the school department.
Absolutely.
Nominations, there are several. The first is Kristen Willett, grade 2, Newmarket Elementary School. This is a new position. And for people at home, the school board in non-public before the regular meeting had an opportunity to look at information as a result of the interviews and the experience of all these individuals without reading all of this information. These are all seasoned people who have had experience for the most part in other places, and we would like to recommend them for employment in the district for next school year. Kristen Willett is the second grade new position, and I'd like to nominate her for the elementary school.
Is there a motion regarding the nomination?
I'll make a motion to nominate Kristen Willett to the second grade position at the elementary school.
Thanks, Chet.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next is Penelope Penny Elwood, and this is for a new position also, grade 1 at Newmarket Elementary School, and she has a master's and a bachelor's degree as well. We'd like to employ her at the elementary school.
I make a motion to accept the nomination of Penny Alward for grade 1.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Next is Amanda Keene, position of guidance counselor at Newmarket Elementary School, replacing Elizabeth Abel. And Amanda has a master's in counseling and a bachelor's degree in psychology.
I make a motion to accept the nomination for Amanda Keene.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The next is Annie Kelly, position grade 3. This is a one-year leave of absence that she's filling of Beth Dismaris, who you granted her leave at the previous board meeting. Annie has a master's in elementary education and a bachelor's in international relations and Spanish with a minor in elementary education.
I'll make a motion to accept the nomination of Annie Kelly for grade 3.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
The next is Abigail Lewis. Abby would be a physical science teacher at the junior-senior high school. She has a master's in secondary education from UNH and a bachelor's of earth science degree, teaching also at the University of New Hampshire. And she's been involved in a program teaching at the university for the past year.
I make a motion to accept the nomination for Abigail Lewis.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have two custodians I'd like to nominate. One is Robert Poitras, who would be the night custodian at the high school, junior high school. He replaces Gary Fleischer.
I make a motion to accept the nomination for Robert Poitras.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
And, I'm sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Also, Robert French, who would be in the position of head daytime custodian at the junior-senior high school, and he replaces George Lucy.
Make a motion to accept Robert French, the nomination of Robert French.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Are we full complement of staff at this point?
We still have a couple of positions, 3 more positions at the elementary level. I think the junior high school, we're good. We're good.
Woo.
Have to take my cues here, just to be sure.
It's good. It's a time of year I think where a good opportunity to get some good staff. So thank you for your efforts in that. Okay. We have a manifest.
Oh, that would be me. I would like to make a motion to accept the total of all manifests in the amount of $438,777.69.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and I think we've got the calendar.
Mr. Chairman, could I just add a couple of other items at the end here?
Please.
Informational, there's something here. I mentioned the Newmarket School District and the Epping Newmarket Coalition for Youth Families. That was just some board minutes that we wanted, again, to thank them for their support working with the junior-senior high school. There's some information here about the event that I attended, and I appreciate the opportunity on June 3rd for the board to give me leave, so to speak, to be able to attend my own high school alumni night. Thank you very much. There's the Newmarket Elementary School News. Lots of news. You should look at that. And there is a 3-page handout here with the class of 2010 and what their future plans are. We don't have names here, but it certainly gives you an idea of the quality of colleges and universities that the class of 2010 are attending. There are also some statistics, a summary, that I will bring to the board retreat because I have some questions and some things that I'd like to talk about with that. And future plans, there's also a brief article, Jamie Oliver, who's the nutritionist going around the country, stirring things up. And again, he's been invited to Newmarket. I don't know if he'll come between now and June 24th, but
If he does come, we'll make sure that you have the
I wanna be
opportunity to
here.
come back to town.
If it's July, I'll come back. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. So, calendar highlights. Are there items, June 26th?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Keeps getting left off the calendar.
June 26th?
Yeah.
The board retreat.
Well, that's because I'm
You
gonna
want us
be
to
there.
remember.
I'm going to be there, I know that.
Anything else that anyone would like to highlight on the calendar? Okay.
Our next meeting is the 15th of July. Is that, has a bunch of question marks on it. Is that concrete for everyone?
At
Yeah,
this
I'm fine
point
with
in
that.
time, I think
I'm
yes.
good with that. Okay.
Okay,
Can we do the deed?
do we have the need for the non-public this evening?
Yes, for a couple of minutes.
For personnel matters?
Personnel matters, yes.
So, I would entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A, Roman numeral, paragraph 3, Roman numeral 2, C, for the discussion of personnel matters.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to call the roll, please?
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Chet Jablonski?
Yes.
Kelly Foster?
Yes.
Meg Looney?
Aye.
Cliff Chase?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to my husband, I love you.
He likes it.
So I said, my child's gonna die. There's candy in front of him again.
Mr. Chairman,
Bring
the
the
high
big
school
apple.
administrator will be here with us for a couple of minutes if you don't mind.
Sure.
And we're still on.
Do we need to call them?
Sorry about the policy. I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, you can take us off.
You have so much confidence in my ability.
Well, I started leafing around, realizing that I didn't have them myself.
And I had it right in front of me, but on this side. Dr. Lister, we have a hole punch. 3-hole punch. Well, all your handouts that you give us?
Sure,
Thank
sure.
you.
We can do that.
Like down here somewhere that we could, yeah.
Like right.
Okay.
A new binder would be nice too. I don't want to get too.
I've got an old budget binder, I think.
Well, you know, I was going to ask about that. Should I just throw away that crap from last year? That
You know,
big?
recycled all that paper.
Well, that's what I meant, of course.
We'll have to hold off on that.
I did that in my lid stove this week and the fire department came.
Sorry?
We'll have to hold back on non-public because we can't get the thing cleared.
Okay, so just wait a couple of minutes.
So we're still on TV? Great.
No one's watching us, they're watching the game.
They're watching Celtics right now. I mean, come on, let's be real. Does anybody have a BlackBerry or something? They can tell me what's going on.
I don't, I left it at home.
You're always doing that.
I'm like
I'm
jonesing
not.
right now.
Am not. Take it back.
What kind of plant bush?
That's very
item
nice. Thank you,
type thing
thank you
is
very
that?
much.
It's green and.
That's,
It's really pretty. I
It's gonna
like
look great
it.
in my yard, thanks.
Are you guys big
From
gardeners?
Carpenters.
Yeah, big. It's great.
Will your wife just be like, oh,
Yeah.
yay.
It's great.
I love the
And
colors.
there's reason there for you to come back to Newmarket in the envelope as well.
And just let us know so we can meet you.
I will join you.
Yes, we'll join you.
Oh,
Don't forget. You have homework.
thank you very much. It's nice. Hot stuff.
Yeah, I know. Fun, fun, fun.
Thank you very much. That's nice. It's awesome.
You're so dedicated.
No, but we could throw them at you.
We could. Are they still on?
Yep.
It's just
Making
because,
up for lost time.
it's because we want to go home so quickly, you know, that's just Murphy's Law. Look at, we got a Twix hiding back here. Did you put that there?
No, that's, must be from last night.
Must be from the town council meeting.
And we could go to the conference room upstairs.
Yep, we're good. Yep.
Chris, like-
Yeah, if we think it's gonna be a while, we can do that.
Oh, God.
I have, you pass it to Dr. Lister.
Did you get it?
Or retreat input.
Thank you.
Oh, what a good girl. Anybody got any big plans for Father's Day this weekend?
It's Father's Day?
Go see my dad.
We're gonna leave the room then. We have to go non-public.
I'm gonna do some planting.
You keep working on it. All right?
What are you guys doing, Tori?
Blue wants to work on his boat. That's what he wants to do, so hey. I'm like, I can provide the beer for that momentous occasion. And I'll sit by the pool and watch it.
help grabbing anything?
I'll come back for my stuff.
My trash.
So should we bring our name things upstairs? Is that
I was just going to gather the photo bag.
You can't shut it off, is that it?
Do you want, you leave the city one here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.